Now, for more on our top story, we're joined by Abdulrahman Alsarraj. He's the chief editor of Turk Press and is actually from the town of Deir ez-Zor, where that Daesh siege has been happening. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. What have you heard then about the siege on your hometown? What's the latest?
Well, it's been a year and a half since the double siege started on the city of Deir ez-Zor by the Assad regime and by ISIS. More than 183,000 people, half of them women and children, are actually still live there. The siege led to an increase of food prices and led to a lack of medical equipment. Human suffering are increasing, actually. This is not only happening in Deir ez-Zor, but Deir ez-Zor has been, some name it as ignored by the media, the Syrian media and by the international media. And that's why many activists from the city are actually campaigning on social media and meeting with UN coordinators to tell their story.
So why is Deir ez-Zor so strategically important then for all sides?
Well, Deir ez-Zor, speaking of, it is the second biggest province in Syria, and it has borders with Iraq. It is also rich of oil, and it is also far from the center of the main cities of Syria, Homs, Damascus, and Aleppo and Hama. It is actually isolated. So by the oil being rich of oil, it can be strategically isolated, and it is also connected to Iraq. This is why it is important for ISIS to be there. And actually, the human suffering there has been, I think, being far from Damascus and from Aleppo, from the main cities where the conflict is happening, actually led to kind of ignoring it or being far from the media coverage.
What do you think all of this says about the strength of Daesh right now? They're laying siege to Deir ez-Zor, but losing territory elsewhere.
Well, still, just like I mentioned, Deir ez-Zor is still far. Maybe Al-Raqqa and Aleppo countryside is closer to Turkey and is also closer to the regime. So it is like the regime territories comes around Damascus to the north near Turkey. Then comes the areas where the opposition is located. Then comes ISIS. Well, Deir ez-Zor is the last territory that ISIS is actually still existing in Syria. So I think it is going to be hard to look for the opposition to look into Deir ez-Zor before trying to solve the problem of ISIS existing in Aleppo, Raqqa, and elsewhere. So Deir ez-Zor is hundreds of kilometers far away from that.
Okay, Abdulrahman Alsarraj, thank you very much for your time here on TRT World.